Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is out next week. I've just beat the third boss myself. I loved the original, and I've got to say the sequel is just as good, if not better, especially its music, much of which was composed by this man, Grant Kirkhope. Grant, how are you?
I'm very well, sir. I'm very well indeed. So whereabouts in Australia are you?
I'm down in Melbourne, which is so beautiful today, considering we've just copped a heap of rain and have even still got flooding going on.
That's great. So I've been to Melbourne. So we came on me and the wife came on the honeymoon, I think. So we did Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Cairns.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, we love Australia. Fantastic place. We've got friends in Melbourne. So we went to there's that place by the water with the flaming ball things. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Down near the Yarra, Crown Casino.
Yeah, we did that. And also there's like the tallest building. We did that as well. It's got like a viewing bit at the top.
How long ago was this?
Oh, God. Must have been like 2000 something. Well, 2000 probably. So a long time ago.
And you haven't been to Australia since?
Oh, I'd love to come. I love Australia. I guess you weren't born in 2000 years ago.
I was, 1992. I've got a bit of a baby face, but I am officially 30, which is why it's such a pleasure to speak to you, because I feel like I've been listening to your music my entire life. I mean, you've got the GoldenEye t-shirt on, but we're here to talk about Sparks of Hope. You composed the original Kingdom Battle, but you're here for the sequel.
I have indeed. I got invited back, so I must have done something right? They must have liked it. So I was fortunate to get invited.
Of course, it's a little different this time because it's not just you. You've actually made the music for this game alongside two of the other greats in the video game industry.
Indeed. Yeah, I guess, when they first announced that, I was like, oh, is this going to work? I didn't know if it was going to work or not. And Yoko was on from the start and Gareth came a bit near towards the end. So I didn't know how it was going to work out. But it really has worked out fantastically well. Like everyone I've talked to sort of said, the soundtrack's a really cohesive thing, and you always kind of worry that with three composers it might not be cohesive, but it's worked out ever so well. I can't complain. It's been great.
Yeah, as I said, I'm playing through it now. I'm a solid 10 hours in, and I'm sort of sitting here trying to pick, what did Grant do? What did Gareth do? Versus, what would Yoko maybe try to compose? And even though I think if you sit there and really listen to it, you can pick up the differences. Generally speaking, it does come together quite cohesively.
Yeah, I think, sometimes people say I've got a Kirkhopean sound, and I get sometimes. I mean, I guess like any composer really, you just write the stuff you like, don't you? There's like certain chords, certain tunes that you used to use over and over again. And I mean, I guess I'm just a one-trick pony, right? So you can just tell.
Look, I don't think you can really call yourself a one-trick pony. I mean, Banjo-Kazooie versus like the GoldenEye pause theme, for example, versus Sparks of Hope. They're wildly different.
Well, I think that, you just, I feel like, it's a bit like, I'm a big metal fan, right? So, I mean, like, like everyone's got that thing inside them you just can't get rid of. It just sounds like you can't help it, no matter what you do. And I kind of feel like that's a bit like that. So it's nice that people recognize what I do, So, no, it's very flattering.
Back to the other composers, did you find out what they were doing? Did you have any oversight, or did you just go your own way and get told, we want you to make a battle theme or a theme for a lava world, and you just worked on it yourself?
So I had, I heard their pieces as I went along. Pardon me. So I know Gareth lives in LA here, so I know Gareth. But Yoko's, I don't think she speaks great English, so I had no contact with her at all. So Ramar Brio, who's the audio director, he was the hub that kind of said, Gareth do that, Grant do that, Yoko do that, handing it out to match it all together. And sometimes I might use some of Yoko's themes, melodies, so that if I wrote the piece after her, so it linked together, like, things like that, or she did some of mine, or, bits and pieces like that. So, but Ramar really needs the credit for that kind of task of getting us three composers to behave ourselves and to be do the right things at the right time. But also Yoko she likes to kind of do very demo-y stuff at the start and then really flesh it out at the end. So where I kind of polish along as I go. I mean, I probably wrote the bulk of the music, because I did all the cinematics as well as the in-game stuff. So I couldn't have done that, but Yoko likes to work that way. She likes to demo it up and then mess around with it and then really polish it at the end. So everyone's got their own way to do stuff, right? So, but like you say, it's great that you can't tell the difference. I think that's cool,
Okay, so for you, how long has this been in the works? When did you officially start? Because I know it's out next week, but I'm sure you've been keeping these secrets for a lot longer than a year or so.
We finished the DLC for the first game in like 2018, and then 2019 sort of went by. I did think we were going to start in 2019, but there's some delays. So I don't think I really started on it until maybe very late 2019, and certainly early 2020 I was working on it by then. So a couple of years has gone by, two and a bit actually, isn't it? So yeah, so I mean, like obviously you can't see all the game at the start, so you kind of just piecemeal it along as you go along. So as I say, Roman was kind of working out what needed to come first and what I could do and not, and not without, because he wanted to make sure that I didn't do something and they changed their minds later and I had to do it again. And that did happen a couple of times, but not really. He organised it super well. So it's kind of, you get to see videos and stuff like that, and they can send you artwork and stuff. And Ramaz and Davide, the creative directors, we're all good. I kind of feel like between me and Davide and Ramar, we kind of put it all together between us, because Davide is the emotional, Italian. He was always crying all the time, so it kind of worked out. What I'd sort of, Ramar would say, we need this piece, a level or a description. I'd do a little bit, maybe the first 30 seconds or 30 bars, send it to Roman. He'd say, yeah, I love it. Go to Davide. Oh, no, Grant, I don't like it. I could, back to Roman, back to me, start again. So that's how it kind of went.
Can't be too sensitive.
No, and I mean, I know those two were super friends, so, and also I feel like when you work for a hire composer, you expect to, you can't get it right every first time. You really can't. Although I have to say that I feel like I didn't get it right any time on Sparks of Hope. No, I mean, Davide was, I love Davide. I feel like he was super keen to make sure that this game is head and shoulders above the last one, right? Right across the board, animation, programming, everything, right? Artwork, music, sound effects, a whole lot, right? So he was really conscious of pushing that to everybody. And I know we're all pulling our hair out, going, "Oh my God, what can we do next?" Because he was like, "No, it's not right. Can you do it again?" And like that. But it made it better in the end. So I feel like it was a harder ride on this game than the first game, but it was better for it. I think all right across the board. I mean, everyone's sort of talking about the art looks fantastic in the trailers and all the rest of it, because the team just knocked it out of the park. They really did. And also I kind of feel like we're all just scared to break anything because it's Nintendo, it's Mario, for God's sake, so we're all super frightened not to break it, and so I feel like that a lot of people said in the first game they could really feel the passion, and I think that's not something you can manufacture. The team's got to feel it. It's got to be in your heart, I think, and I feel like that the Milan team and the Paris team, it's in their hearts, and Nintendo thing's just in their hearts. So I think that's why the games turn out well.
I loved the original. I mean, 100%ed it, even the DLC. And when I saw the changes coming for the sequel, I did worry for a little while and think, are they going to be able to capture that same magic? Because it was something so fresh originally. But it truly does. And, testament to Davide, yourself, and everyone else involved, it not only recaptures that magic, but in my opinion, it feels better. The set pieces feel grander. Everything seems to be a level up. And I'm sure that meant it was a level up on pressure for you right toward the end of this game as well.
Yeah, I guess when you get towards the end, it's a bit like, oh my God, I've got like umpteen cinematics to do, and I haven't got time to do them all, so it gets a bit panicky. But I mean, I do feel like everyone I've talked to, today, what they sort of said, they feel like it's a step up from the last game, and that's what we want to hear. We want to hear that it does, because it's hard when you do it yourself. When you take a step back, it's hard to kind of put it into perspective, right? So it's difficult because we've been so close to it for so long. You don't know anymore if it's any good or not. You think, wow, I think I've done a good piece of music, but I don't really know until someone else tells me it's good. So it's I do feel like it's really, everyone's kind of spotted that extra little bit of magic on top. I really feel like it's come from Davide. Like he's the top guy, like he's made us sprinkle it on everything, from start to finish. So I think we've all felt that it's not pressure; it's a good kind of pressure to be better. And he said to me, he felt like I've evolved. And I was like, well, fantastic, I want to evolve, So as a composer, I've been doing it for a long time, 27 years, whatever it is. So it's nice to feel that I've still got a bit left to go.
Look, listening to what you've done for this game, I think you've got plenty left in the tank, no doubt about that. Was there anything in particular you were excited to compose for this, or something that you're waiting for people to get to and just be blown away by?
So there's a Bowser battle in the game later on, where he fights, one of the characters. And Ramar, the audio director, said, "Look, we want it to be like, what about doing it like Conti, like the Rocky movies, like that kind of sound, like a bit like Madalorian too, like a bit like that." And I was like, "Wow, that sounds like an awesome idea." So I just really went into that crazy, and it's got the big brass and it's a bit Rocky-fied, and it just sounds great for the battle. And that's one of the pieces that we recorded in Japan. It turned out fantastic. So I'm super happy with that piece. Also, the final battle piece with Cursor, I put a lot of effort into that. And Davide cried when he heard that one. So it was a good marker when Davide cries.
It sounds like he cries a lot, though.
He cried less this game than the last game, so I guess he's getting a bit used to me by now. But he did cry in the cursor piece at the end, so I was pleased about that, of course. So you never know, do you? You do your best and just hope that people like it.
Oh, I think people are going to love it when it comes out next week, and I can't wait to get to that final battle myself. But of course, you have a long and storied history, Grant. We have to touch on that. I mean, way back to GoldenEye. I mean, that theme is now sort of had a revitalization on TikTok. A lot of what is old in your past is new again now. So, I mean, are you conscious of that at all?
Yeah, I've seen that. The pause theme's gone ballistic, hasn't it? It's really weird how things pop up here and there, and it's like, it's super humbling that people bring it out after all these years and go, we like this piece of music, and all that. And crazy, really. And I was the grandfather of trap music. I don't even know what trap music is. So it's fantastic, really. It's, who'd have thought, even about Banjo-Kazooie, when I wrote the beat to that, I never thought that it would still be talked about 20 years later. Like, you think 6 weeks if you're lucky, 6 months if you're lucky, So it's crazy how, I think Rare was such a special company in those days that we're all firing on all cylinders back then. Everybody was. And it just permeate. Yet again, the kind of Stamper brothers who ran the place, they were such great people to work for, and a bit like Davide, that passion permeates through the rest of you. You can't escape it, And I think that's what makes you do a better job, because you've got that their magic gets you get a bit of it when stuff that you do, So it's crazy.
Well, having listened to some of this music, I think it's probably going to stick with people for some time as well. So if there's one thing you want gamers to take away from Sparks of Hope, Grant, what is it?
I hope that they get the gist that the music was really hard, was worked on super hard. Like, we really did try our ultimate best to make it better than the last game. And I really feel it's the best music in my career, and I'm not saying that lightly. Like, I do feel like I really pushed myself, and I think it did evolve a little bit. Like, but, nobody else might think that except me. I do feel like I did a little bit, and I've certainly pushed it, harmonically, things I might have not done before, or I'm always trying to learn new things, even though I'm at the ripe old age of God knows what. It's I'm still trying to learn new stuff from John Williams and people that are way better than me. So I do spend time listening to that stuff and try and pick up little bits that maybe I can get it to my music. So I hope people. Well, I hope they enjoy the game and have good fun. That's the main thing, right? Irrespective of everything else. I hope they have a good fun with it, have a good laugh at the Rabbids and all the rest of it, and that's good by me.
Look, I can't thank you enough for your time. It's been a pleasure having a chat to you, and I hope you come down to Australia again soon.
I'd love to. My wife's got family on Kangaroo Island. Yeah, she's got like an uncle or something on Kangaroo Island. It's bizarre, yeah. So
this is going to freak you out, but I actually went there for my honeymoon.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's it. We're connected. That's it forever now.
Friends forever. I'll take it. Thank you so much for your time, Grant. You're an absolute legend.
Well, thanks for asking me. It's very kind.